Welcome to another episode of Crosstalk. My name is Kevin Tocci, and I will be your host for the next 29 minutes or so. As you've come to know this particular program, we do our best to try to bring in folks from the communities that we serve, Whitman and Hanson. Sometimes there are other surrounding communities that we also bring guests in, just special guests to talk about different things. And it's kind of a unique situation that we're having this conversation. We're just coming off of the 4th of July holiday. And folks, you know, we think of the 4th of July as America's birthday, but we also think of what took place before to make the 4th of July happen, the battles that took place, the veterans who fought for our freedom way back, what were we talking, 3 centuries ago, if not more. And the importance of those who have, you know, fought for our flag and for us to remain free. And we have 2 gentlemen here who are going to talk to us a little bit about the Veterans District that has been formed, the Abington Whitman Veterans District. And I have here joining me directly to my left is James Crosby. He is the Veterans Service Director. James, welcome to the
program. Thanks for having me.
And right next to James is Tom McCarthy, and Tom is a Veterans Service Officer. Gentlemen, welcome to Crosstalk, and thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedules to come on down here to 115 South Avenue and talk a little bit about what it is that you do and the services that you provide to the folks who have defended our flag, who are back home here, or maybe they're intermittently between tours of duty. First and foremost, if you would define to me what a veteran is, because I think sometimes folks forget what a veteran actually is.
Well, a veteran is somebody who served our country in the armed forces, and the VA defines a veteran who served either 180 days of active duty service or at least 1 day in a war zone to qualify for their benefits. There are sometimes people that actually are veterans who may have been discharged medically that don't know that they are veterans and qualify for benefits. So if you did serve your country and went to boot camp, you know, I think it's important to check with your local veteran service officer to see if there might be some benefits that you don't know that you qualify for, your family may qualify for, if it's, you know, under the 180 days or 1 time in a war zone.
Is there confusion when it comes to that, or do you think that the folks understand what the word veterans means?
Well, I'd absolutely say yes. Some people only think that veterans are somebody that served in war, when you can actually be a veteran and not serve in a wartime. And there are actually veterans who don't realize that they are veterans and that there are benefits out there that could help them. And we've had them come through our office since I've started.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, if you will.
I'm from Winthrop originally. I was born in Boston. I still live in Winthrop now. Been looking for a house in the area, so I'll probably be relocating soon. 30 years old, joined the Marine Corps in 2001, and was in the Marines from 2002, shipped off in 2002, and was wounded in Iraq in 2004, and returned home to Massachusetts, which was a great state to come back to, seeing all the benefits that Massachusetts had for its veterans, not, you know, at a state level as well as a federal level, and then just the great network of veterans within the state really helped me to welcome me home with open arms, and really helped to ease my family when they got the news that we had, you know, gotten hit over in Iraq. So, and then after returning home, shortly after that, I was able to work for the Massachusetts Department of Veteran Services under former Secretary Tom Kelly, who was a Medal of Honor recipient. Mm-hmm. And while I was there, I was in charge of outreach, and then started a veteran suicide prevention program called the SAVE program, which is still running today at the state level. And I left there after a few years and went to school and did some other veterans nonprofit things throughout the country, which I still do in my spare time. And
wait, you have some of that?
Yeah, when I'm not at work, or I guess when, you know, we can find a little time in between sleeping, I guess. Now I'm here. I've been here since September, serving the veterans of Abington and Whitman with Tom, and it's really two great communities, and I think that, you know, we're really a strong district helping our veterans. So.
Tom, a little bit about yourself, sir.
I joined the Marine Corps in 1976. old salty old dog. Spent some time on active duty and many years in the reserves out of Weymouth until they closed. I saw combat over in during Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and I've grown up in Abington. Spent most of my life in Abington. Originally from Dorchester, like a lot of South Shore folks are. But
Matriculate to the South Shore, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of good friends in the community who have served. I've been a member and commander of Disabled American Veterans in the Whitman Chapter 119, and done a lot of great things there. Helping out and visiting over in the VA hospital and doing various projects over there with veterans, disabled veterans, and great bunch of guys that to work with. And James has been a great inspiration in teaching me the ropes, working in the town as a veteran service officer. He's very knowledgeable, and I think we make a good team. I guess it's the Marine Corps blood we share coming out of Marine Corps boot camp, but we work well together, and I really appreciate James for that.
Well, I thank both of you for your service to your country, and
Thank you.
you know, if it isn't for folks like you who go out and do it for our country, I mean, where would our country be to this day? And I don't think we say thank you enough to our veterans, whether they're ones who went to war or those who served during peacetime. It's, you never can say thank you enough, that's for sure. Talk to us a little bit about what it's like to serve these two communities that make up the district, Whitman and Abington.
Well, we're lucky. Massachusetts is the only state that has a veteran service officer in every community. Up until recently, there was a single veteran service officer in each community, and many of them still remain that way. Some have gone to districts because it's made more sense, either because of population size or manpower or whatever it may be. I was the first veteran service officer, Tom and myself, to be part of the Abington Whitman district. So coming into an office that had lost one of their veteran service officers in Abington, Joe Colantoni, who was there for a number of years and passed away of cancer, and then in Whitman, Jerry ended up retiring.
Yeah, he's left.
Yep. So he retired. So just kind of picking up the pieces and making sure that the veterans and their family members were being served is, very personal. You want to make sure that everybody's being treated, fairly, properly, and they're really getting the services, because people who need the services that we offer many times aren't, at the best point in their life, so they need them yesterday. So it's important to, be efficient with what we do, and there's a few different things that we do. So it was just very important to, learn the job quickly, and then see, what we've been providing in the past and where we could, add to that. And it gives us a lot of opportunities that we can, split up some of the responsibilities, but and still, between Tom and myself, whether it's a lot of the stuff sometimes is outside of the office, whether it's meeting with veterans or going with them, to appointments. And by having a district and having another service officer in the office, we can maintain more coverage that way. So it works out really well. Hopefully, we'll be bringing Tom on full time. He's part time now, but we need him. We need him full time. So we're looking to do that as well. So it's.
What's it like, Tom? I mean, since you've been on, I mean, from what it sounds like is that you're an asset that the two of you are able to kind of take care of the needs of the veterans in these two communities. What's it been like since you've come on board?
Well, it's kind of been a whirlwind coming on board. There's an awful lot of need with the veterans in our communities, between their local benefits that we can provide at a pretty rapid rate. Some veterans are in pretty much distress when they come to see us, and they don't know which way to turn, and we've given them a little bit of peace of mind that we're there for them, and we do care about them. We're veterans ourselves, and that's very important, I think. We also try to help them with federal benefits through the Veterans Administration. We look into their files and we see if there's something that we can give them more long-term that will provide them with better services. Some with just monetary income through a disability, and some with really good treatment that the Veterans Administration's healthcare system offers that'll help them get on track and stay on track. And it's important for us to be going through the system, the healthcare system, as well as the disability system through the VA, to know it from the inside, to be able to, give an inside perspective to veterans who, some older veterans don't trust the system, the old Veterans Administration. And we've found it's a lot different than stories we've been told in the past with our older veterans coming in to see us. And sometimes we need to go out, make home visits, and check on some of our older veterans, and making sure that they're provided for as well. And sometimes it's just peace of mind to them, to let them know that we're there for them.
James, you want to weigh in on that?
I do. I really think that a great asset of becoming a district, and I talk about it because we are a new district, is really, like I said before, divvying up some of the responsibilities, whether it be an influx of federal cases versus, say, our Chapter 115, which is the monetary assistance that we can provide at the town. That it takes a lot of time to do the veterans' federal claims, but it's time well spent, because what that translates into is, say you have a veteran who may have been receiving assistance through the town, which is not a whole lot of money. It's just enough to really scrape by. It's meant to be an interim benefit, say if you lost your job or you're on a fixed income, things like that. But when a veteran comes in that has a service-connected disability that rates a VA rating, and you take the time to put that in the system and apply for one correctly, what that does is it can change their life. And you can actually end up with, say, a veteran who was receiving benefits from the town for a number of years, and they didn't realize that they could get these federal benefits, and then you apply for them, and they end up coming off of the benefits from the town. So that saves the town money, and then they receive federal benefits, which probably way supersede the benefits that they were receiving from the town. So it's a win-win. The veterans' quality of life's improved. Sometimes they may get back pay for months, if not years, so they can end up with a very large chunk of money. So it just, and then they're getting access to the federal VA healthcare system. So they're getting, the care they need. They're getting income that's helping them on a day-to-day basis, and that's income that's being spent, here in the towns. I think we have, it was like $750,000 that I think is federally through the VA that gets spent between the two towns of Abington and Whitman. So if you take the time, and you have the time, in which we do now, because we were able to split some of these things up, it helps reduce costs to. Sometimes it can reduce the cost to the town, but also have more money coming into the town that's going to be spent in the town, buying for living expenses. So it helps to helps the local economy, and helps the veteran improve their life. And that's, I said sometimes, but that's probably more often than not, that there's veterans that have not applied for benefits and are receiving what they should from the federal VA healthcare system and the benefit system. And it may be because they never wanted to seek this before, because they didn't think they rated it, or they didn't want to take it away from somebody else. But that's just not how federal budgets work. You're not taking it away from anywhere. If there's a need, then they lobby for that need, and our congressmen and senators will lobby for additional funds to meet that need. And it shows by taking advantage of these benefits that our veterans have the need. And if you are a veteran service officer who's up to date on trainings, you're able to identify what their disabilities are, attach the supporting evidence for those claims and they get approved. They may have tried before and gotten denied, but that doesn't mean that maybe it was done improperly, or maybe that person who was adjudicating the claim just was having a bad day that day. But they're a lot more simplified, the claims process now, and we get training multiple times per year, and that's just something I wanted to touch on because I think it's important, and not a lot of people realize that. So.
I believe you had a follow-up, Tom.
Yeah, well, with this this improved training, the streamlined process of the VA application forms and things like that, it really improves the quality of life of our veterans, and that's the bottom line.
It's very important.
That's what we're in this business for, is to improve the quality of life of our veterans. And if they're entitled to some money or some benefits to help them, they're going to spend it in our community, and that's also a great thing. It's a win-win, but in my heart, the big thing is the quality of life for our veterans and their families is why I do this, and I've volunteered to do it in the past with the Disabled American Veterans, and I was happy to be brought on board to be able to work within the town at a professional level to provide benefits for folks who really need it. And being part of Massachusetts service officers, we're the only state in this country that actually really takes it this serious and really provides great benefits. And I feel pretty proud to be able to be part of that.
I have to ask, as we discussed at the beginning of the conversation, as to with Mr. Calantonio's passing, with Jerry Eaton retiring, I would think that there was a little bit of a backlog that you guys are either dealing with or you had to deal with. What was it like, or what has it been like, trying to at least get caught up and touch base and find out where people are with that little bit of a void that took place until you guys were brought in?
I came on in September, so it was about 3 months into the new fiscal year for the towns, and the hardest part for myself was just maintaining all the different aspects of the job, and making sure that everybody that was receiving, what's called Chapter 115 benefits, which is the monetary benefit that is paid out from our towns in each town, that they were continuing to get their checks. But not only that, you have different processes in each town, so you have to make sure that they're done properly. But what we found was there were some veterans that were perfect candidates for applying for VA federal claims, so that identifying them and then doing those claims, as well as calling people back. I mean, that's extremely important. When the phone rings, if there's nobody in front of us, we're picking it up, and sometimes, even if they are sitting in front of us, if we can handle it, take that call right then, we will. But and just being there in the office for people, you can't be in two places at one time, and we can't do a federal claim and talk somebody through, just say somebody that just wanted to pick our brain on a couple different topics, whether they're benefits or whatever it was. So that was probably the hardest thing, was just maintaining everybody's callback, because it's not just a callback. A lot of the phone calls, 9 out of 10 times, are going to turn into hours of work. So for whatever we had on the plate, we just had to make sure that we were just doing it efficiently, and we weren't wasting our time. There's a learning curve. You're obviously going to make a couple mistakes in the beginning, but as long as we just kept learning from the good trainings that we had, and moving forward, we were able to always get back to everybody, and that's the big feedback that we've had is that from the communities is that they do feel that they are getting their answers answered, which is important for public service.
I found the same thing here in Whitman. Whitman went almost 2 years since Jerry had retired, and there was some help coming in from other towns to help process some of the claims. And our town administrator, Frank Lynham, he was able to process some of the claims. That's
got to be a big help.
Yeah. He knows the work that we do and appreciates the work that we do, and it's great having somebody like him behind us. But when somebody walks by the door and they actually see the light on and somebody in the office, the 19 hours a week that I work, and sometimes a little extra here and there,
Kind of lose track of it.
They feel like they're being recognized. They feel that somebody does care about them, and they felt forgotten about, some of them, for a little while. But some of them just stop by to say hello, and if you need a cup of coffee or something like that. And some of them, the majority, come in with real issues. And I appreciate the fact that we're able to help where we can, and give them the answers that they're looking for. And if we don't have them, we find them.
Can't believe it. We've already kind of burned through 2/3 of the show. We got a little less than 10 minutes left here, so we want to make sure we're kind of really prudent with what we have left here. What do you find a lot of times, a lot of these individuals are as strictly just the 115 benefits, or what are some of the things that a lot of times veterans are coming in to speak with either yourself or Tom about most of the time? Is there like a top 5 or top 10?
For the 115 benefit?
Well, no, just in general when they come to veteran services.
That's kind of like a real hard question to ask, because there's different profiles of veterans, I guess you could say. You have your new veteran that just was discharged. So that person, if they aren't collecting unemployment, may be eligible for 115. But there's also a myriad of different things that you have to cover with them. There's welcome home bonuses that they may be eligible for.
Yep.
For different periods of war. You have to go through to see if they have a disability that's service connected that they need to apply for, because that should be done as soon as possible. And then you need to ask them to see what their financial situation is. Or widows or children of veterans can receive benefits from not only just the federal government or the federal VA, but also from the cities and towns. So, and also burial benefits. So you may have, a family member of a veteran looking for burial benefits for somebody who just passed away. You may have people coming in that are in between jobs and their unemployment ran out, that are looking for public assistance, which is our Chapter 115 program. But if they come in for that, they may have, be eligible for the federal, claim. So you have to kind of check all the different boxes and make sure that they're good to go in every aspect, so that you don't miss something.
So would it be safe to ask both of you gentlemen that it isn't just a one size fits all? You never know when a veteran shows up at your doorstep what it could be. It could be a number of different things. Would that be
every veteran that comes through the door is different. We're all built different. Every veteran comes through with a different personality, usually a different issue. And we try to address that. It's difficult with dealing with somebody that comes in that's down on their luck, gloom and doom, and if you have some hope for them, whether it be a training program or guide them into a couple of folks that may be hiring in their field. We get a lot of information that comes into our offices with job openings through the Department of Transition, Unemployment. They send us information pretty much daily on jobs that are open. We try to get people back on their feet if they're able, get some training for them, and make them feel like a full, total person again. Some of them feel like they're broken when they come in. They just need a little help, and they need somebody to stand behind them. And they feel better when they leave our office. I feel in the most part.
You agree with that, James?
I do. I think that one of the biggest things that we do is advocate for our veterans. I know from some personal experience, dealing with the federal system is extremely hard. Just dealing with people in general sometimes is hard. So, if our office can assess, where a veteran's at and, come up with an individual plan for them and help them, start checking off the boxes one by one. We've taken veterans that have appeared, to other people to be broken and unfixable. We've taken them and the first time that we've met some of these veterans, they seem to be very sad and very down on their luck, and now they're completely changed their outlook on life. They're looking at, they're either hired or looking in training programs and on the upswing, and thanked us numerous times. So that's being an advocate making sure people, the veterans and their families, aren't alone. They don't have to fight the fight by themselves. Is one of the
You
biggest
guys seem
things.
like quite the team. You both seem like you take a lot of pride in being able to help our veterans in these two communities be able to succeed, or even just to kind of hold their head up and smile, even if in a tough time. That's what I'm hearing here. Is that you guys are more than just somebody to help them fill out benefits, but if they're having a tough day, that you guys are there to kind of help them at least make it to the next day.
Yeah, and then the families for some of our soldiers and Marines that didn't get a chance to come home. We have some Gold Star families in the communities,
Right.
And we're working with them on a regular basis because it's important not to forget the ones that we lost and their families, because sometimes when people think veterans, they just think of the actual person who put the boots on and not the ones that were the family members.
There's a lot more to a veteran than just the veteran or the active duty service member. There's a whole network behind each and every one of them. It's called their family.
We get about 3 minutes left. I know you wanted to each also touch upon, and that kind of seems like a nice segue to talk a little bit about the parades that we hold in May and November, whether it's Memorial Day or Veterans Day. If you want to take a moment to kind of talk about that for a second, could you please?
Yeah, no, I just say that, take the time to say that it's extremely important to come out and go to the parades on Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and they're two separate events. Memorial Day is not Veterans Day. It sometimes gets confused.
Right.
Memorial Day is to take the time to honor those who didn't come home in war and that were killed in action. So to come out and to remember them and take part in the ceremonies is extremely important, and for Veterans Day, it's that time to, maybe not on such a somber note, but to thank people for their service and show, what we have to offer, as a community. In addition to just our office, the community welcoming home our veterans is extremely important, and that's a really great time of the year to do that.
Okay. Anything that we didn't get a chance to touch upon, but you want to at least take a moment to talk about real quick?
I feel pretty lucky working in these two communities, Abington and Whitman. We have a lot of veterans in our towns. We have a lot of support from our town politicians, from our veterans organizations, being the VFW, the American Legion, the Disabled American Veterans, that really support each other. We also have the Vietnam Veterans Organization, that really turns out for every little thing that there is out there. This is a great community to work in. People in this community, both communities, really care about their veterans, and we're really appreciative of that. And it shows in the parades that they come out, they enjoy it with us, and we enjoy their company.
Okay. Folks want to find out more information. How can they do that? How can they get in touch with you?
They can email me. It's J Crosby, so it's JCROSBY at Abington.
We'll throw that up on this. We'll throw that up on the
There
screen,
it is, right
just
there.
like that.
J Crosby.
As you're saying.
Yeah, so they can email us, or they can go on the town websites, or feel free to give us a call. That number will ring both our offices, and you'll either get Tom or myself.
Tom, you want to give your email real quick?
My email is tmccarthy at whitman-mass.gov, and please send me an email or give me a call if there's anything we can do to help you. Whether you're a family member of a veteran who feels that your family member needs some help, or you're a widow, or even a spouse of a veteran who's been deployed. If you need some help, give us a call. You're not alone.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you both
Thank
for
you for
coming,
having
James, Tom.
Thank you very much.
And
Appreciate it.
that's another Crosstalk. Until next time, have yourself a great day.